The time is precisely 1:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News edited by Danishka Madhavala and read by Chandima Virakon. Headlines. Low-income families to receive 5,000 rupees allowance for festive season. Tomorrow's public holiday, not for banks. Public urged to strictly follow health guidelines during festive season. 284 new COVID infections registered yesterday. UK Prime Minister will not attend the Duke's funeral, Number 10 says. Air Force swimmer sets a new record by swimming through Pork Strait. State Minister of Samudhi, Household Economy, Microfinance, Self-Employment and Business Development, Shahan Semasinghe says that steps have been taken to provide a cash allowance of 5,000 rupees to Samudhi recipients and low-income families. The decision has been taken in view of the upcoming Sinhala and Tamil New Year. An estimated number of 2.8 million families are expected to benefit from this allowance. Samudhi officers have been instructed to take necessary measures to hand over the cash allowance to relevant families prior to the Sinhala and Tamil New Year. This is jointly initiated by the Presidential Task Force for Economic Revival and Poverty Eradication and the Department of Samudhi Development. According to reports, the aforementioned allowance for low-income families is expected to be handed over on the 12th and 13th of April through Samurdhi banks. The public holiday tomorrow will not be applicable for state and private banks, the Secretary of the Ministry of Public Administration stated, issuing a notice. Tomorrow was declared a public holiday by the government. This was in view of the upcoming Sinhala and Tamil New Year festival. The police headquarters has issued a special circular to all police stations after health guidelines issued to prevent the spread of the coronavirus were found to be grossly violated by the public. Police spokesman, Deputy Inspector General Ajit Rohana said that under the circular, special operations will be launched from today to take action on those found to be violating the health guidelines. DIG Ajit Rohana said that policemen deployed to inspect shops, public transport and other locations found that the health guidelines issued by the Health Ministry to prevent the spread of the coronavirus were being grossly violated. He said that most people were found not wearing face masks or maintaining social distancing. The police spokesman also said that hotels and other institutions were not closely following the health guidelines. State Minister Professor Channa Jayasamana says that a Sinopharm COVID vaccine will not be given to the Sri Lankans until it receives the approval of World Health Organization and National Medicines Regulatory Authority. Speaking to the national radio, he said that people should pay more attention regarding the various false information regarding the vaccination program of the government. The minister said that some parties are trying to sabotage the vaccination program and are trying to get petty political advantages through that. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
This How Do the People's Bank credit cards are giving you discounts of up to 60%.
Continuing with the local stories, Ministry of Health yesterday confirmed 124 more new cases of COVID-19 in Sri Lanka as the daily cases count reached 284. The Department of Government Information said among the newly identified coronavirus patients are 16 individuals who arrived in Sri Lanka from overseas and 54 from the prison cluster. The new development has brought the total number of COVID-19 confirmed in the country thus far to 94,848. According to the Epidemiology Unit, 2,796 patients infected with the virus are currently under medical care at designated hospitals and treatment centers. Total recoveries from the virus infection have reached 90,708, while the death toll stands at 596. Commander of the Army, General Shavendra Silva, has urged the members of public to strictly adhere to the health guidelines during the Sinhala and Tamil New Year celebrations. He specifically appealed to them to wear face masks properly to minimize the spread of COVID-19. Meanwhile, the Director General of Health Services, Dr. Asala Gunawardena, says lockdowns or travel restrictions will not be imposed during the festive season. He noted that, however, the members of public are expected to follow the relevant health guidelines properly amidst the Aurudhu celebrations. Dr. Gunawardena made these remarks speaking to the media following an event held in Colombo yesterday. To end the local news, the headlines once again. Low-income families to receive 5,000 rupees allowance for festive season. Tomorrow's public holiday not for banks. Public urged to strictly follow health guidelines during festive season. 284 new COVID infections registered yesterday. That ends the local news.
This hour, the People's Bank credit cards are giving you discounts of up to 60%. Hurry, get your People's credit card at your nearest People's Bank branch today. Special offers only till April 30th.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
On the main news story, Army Commander General Shavendra Silva said that nearly 3,000 people have been placed in quarantine following a significant increase in coronavirus infections in Jaffna. He added that special attention was focused on the situation in Jaffna during a meeting of the National Centre for the Prevention of COVID-19. He said a high number of COVID cases were detected in Jaffna over the last few weeks due to exit PCR tests being conducted in the area. That ends the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Moving on to Watchlight, Minister Mahinda Amaravira has informed the Central Environmental Authority to provide him with a report on the pollution of water in the Avanna Lake and discolouring of water in the wetland near Batramulla Three Bridges area. The minister has made the request today by sending a letter to the Director General of the authority, Hemantha Jayasinghe. That ends Watchlight.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of
the best discount in this Aurudhu season. People's Leasing Polybasi. Enjoy an interest rebate of 25% from People's Leasing for all the leasing facilities during this Aurudhu season. Call 011-206-300 for more details. Conditions apply.
People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
Headlines of the world news. UK Prime Minister will not attend the Duke's funeral, Number 10 says. Dozens killed in Myanmar military crackdown in Bago. Veteran crime journalist Giorgos Karaivas shot dead in Greece. Boris Johnson will not attend the Duke of Edinburgh's funeral next Saturday in order to allow as many family members as possible to get amid coronavirus restrictions, Number 10 has said. Only 30 people expected to be the Duke's children, grandchildren and other close family can attend the funeral at St. George's Chapel, Windsor. The public has been asked to stay away. The Prince of Wales paid tribute to his dear Papa on Saturday, saying he will be missed enormously. Speaking from his Highgrove home in Gloucestershire, Prince Charles said his late father was a very special person who above all else would have been amazed by the reaction and the touching things that have been said about him. The prince said he and his family were deeply grateful for this, adding, "It will sustain us in this particular loss and this particularly sad time." The Duke died at Windsor Castle on Friday, aged 99. More than 80 people have been killed by Myanmar security forces in a crackdown on a protest in the city of Bago, activists say. The military is reported to have taken away the bodies of those killed, and the true number of deaths may never be accurately established. Witnesses told local media that soldiers had used heavy weapons and had shot at anything that moved. More than 600 people have been killed since last month's military coup. The military has resorted to increasing levels of violence to maintain its grip on power. The latest killings in Bago, near the main city of Yangon, are reported to have happened on Friday, but took a whole day to emerge as many residents were forced to flee to nearby villages. Greek Prime Minister has ordered a speedy investigation after a veteran crime journalist was shot dead on Friday. Georgios Karaivas was shot at least 6 times with a silenced weapon by 2 men on a moped outside his home in Athens. His death shocked us all, said the government spokeswoman. Media freedom organizations said it must be established whether Karaivas was killed for his work, which covered organized crime and corruption. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen urged justice for the despicably cowardly murder. European Parliament Speaker David Sassoli tweeted that he was devastated by the news. To end the world news, the headlines again. UK Prime Minister will not attend the Duke's funeral, Number 10 says. Dozens killed in Myanmar military crackdown embargo. Veteran crime journalist Georgios Karaivas shot dead in Greece. That ends the world news.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of
The best discount in this Urdu season, People's Leasing Polybasi. Enjoy an interest rebate of 25% from People's Leasing for all the leasing facilities during this Urdu season. Call 011-206-300 for more details. Conditions apply.
People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
Moving on to development news. The government has decided to promote the Ratmalana Airport as a recreational aviation hub. The airport will be assessed under the government's program to develop the Ratmalana Airport as a domestic aviation hub. Accordingly, Minister of Tourism Prashana said new local air routes to tourist destinations will be identified together with locations suitable for aircraft runways. In addition to tourism, the Ratmalana Airport will be promoted for wedding flights, international, commercial and corporate flights, private jet operations and drama and film-related flights. Meanwhile, the minister also expressed hope that domestic flights that have been suspended will resume. That ends development news. Now we take a look at sports news. Air Force swimmer, leading aircraftsman Prashana Basundera sets a new Asian record by swimming 59 kilometers and 300 meters across the Pork Strait in 28 hours and 19 minutes 43 seconds. Prashana Basundera embarked on a challenging endeavour to swimming across the Pork Strait from Talaimannar to Dhanushkodi and back yesterday. Prashana Basundera is 32 years old and a product of Mathura Central College. And on horse racing, Rachel Blackmore made sporting history by becoming the first female jockey to win the Grand National with victory in Minella Times at Antrim. The Irish rider scored a thrilling triumph aboard the 11-1 chance, trained by Henry de Beaumad, who also saddled runner-up Balco de Flo. That ends sports news.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply. Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
The world's biggest online retailer, China's Alibaba, has been hit with a record fine equivalent to $2.75 billion. Regulators in China said the internet giant had abused its dominant market position for several years. In a statement, the company said it accepted the ruling and would ensure its compliance. Analysts say the fine shows China intends to move against internet platforms that it thinks are too big. That ends business news.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money. Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Economic News, courtesy of
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
Taking a look at economic news, the Foreign Ministry said that the United States and Sri Lanka are to broaden relations in multiple areas. The Foreign Ministry said that both sides reviewed bilateral engagements at talks held in Colombo. Foreign Minister Dinesh Gunawardena met with the U.S. Ambassador to Sri Lanka, Alina B. Teplitz, at the Foreign Ministry on Friday. The Foreign Ministry said that they reviewed bilateral engagements with a view to further broadening and deepening relations between the U.S. and Sri Lanka in multiple areas of cooperation. The United States is Sri Lanka's largest export market and accounts for nearly $3 billion of the $11.7 billion of goods Sri Lanka exports annually. U.S. assistance to Sri Lanka has totaled more than $2 billion since Sri Lanka's independence in 1948. That ends economic news.
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
Weather report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
And finally, we take a look at the weather report. Showers or thundershowers will occur at several places over most parts of the island in the evening or at night. Heavy falls, about 100 millimeters, can be expected at some places in Sabaragamuwa, Central, Uva, Northwestern and Western provinces, and in Galle, Matra and Polonnaruwa districts. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in Central, Sabaragamuwa and Western provinces during the morning. General public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers. That ends the weather report.
Weather report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
And to end this bulletin of news, the headlines again. Low-income families to receive 5,000 rupees allowance for festive season. Tomorrow's public holiday not for banks. Public urged to strictly follow health guidelines during festive season. 284 new COVID infections registered yesterday. UK Prime Minister will not attend the Duke's funeral, Number 10 says. Air Force swimmer sets a new record by swimming through Pork Strait. With that, we conclude this bulletin of news from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.